What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily. How is everyone doing? We have a couple of news stories and a handful of questions, so without further ado, let's jump into the tech news. First story of the day is about the Galaxy S22 line of phones, and this is more of a reminder and something to know, and I've mentioned this multiple times, but I kind of want to drive the point in because it seems like Samsung is on a path to rekindle its love with the same exact cameras that we've seen for the past, basically, now it's going to be 3 iterations of the S20 phones, S20, S21, S22, and again, cover around the Ultras as well, that they're going to potentially use all the same cameras as they have those past 3 iterations of each of one of those phones. Now, the reason I say this is because Android Police just put out an article reminding us, and again, I want to drive it home, new camera rumors bring our picture of the Samsung Galaxy S22 further into focus, and then you can see the headline below that. There might not be any major improvements over last year's phone, and if you dive deeper into it, they talk about the phone's cameras basically having the same megapixels as the previous generation and so on and so forth, and that the only thing that will probably come out of this is some tweaking to the camera. And when by tweaking, usually that means they're going to tweak the software, which means they could also tweak the software on the previous iterations and get very similar results with those previous phones. So it's seemingly a way to cut costs. They don't have to use something new. It's something they already know about. That way they can improve the software further and further and potentially still give you a great camera experience, but not maybe as good as maybe what iPhone's doing or what Pixel's doing or what Xiaomi's doing or what Huawei's doing, but keep their prices fairly low, but still make you happy at the end of the day. Next up, as you can see from this tweet from Mr. Steve McFly, also known as OnLeaks, saying he's back from the future again, this time with the very first and early looks at the OnePlus 10 Pro. And when we look at this photo, this is a crazy looking phone in the back there. I kind of find it a little bit ugly. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll get used to it, but it's definitely not the most pretty result of cameras on the back there. It's a tri-camera setup, aka 3 cameras with a flash. What do you guys think? You liking that? I'm not a huge fan of that. And then to dive a little bit deeper into some of the other information that's been let out of the bag for this, you can see the base model of the OnePlus 10 Pro is expected to have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, leading up to 12 gigabytes and 256 gigs of storage. In addition to that, the device is expected to feature an LTPO Fluid 2 AMOLED display that measures 6.7 inches and comes with a 20:9 aspect ratio, 120 hertz refresh rate. While the official list of specs has not been announced yet, check out some of the expected specs for the OnePlus 10 Pro. You can see the dimensions. You can see the display, again, 6.7 inch with basically a 2K plus display resolution, battery at 5,000 milliamps, and then you can get anywhere between 128 all the way up to 256 gigs of storage, 8 or 12 gigabytes of RAM. What do you think about that OnePlus 10 Pro? I'll give you a double question today. What do you think the look of the OnePlus 10 Pro? Are you going to get that phone? And then the other part of that is Galaxy S22 using potentially the same exact cameras, except just tweaking them a little bit. How does that make you feel? With that said, let's get into the Q&A portion of the video and drop that beat! First question of the day comes from Shazad. Greg, don't you agree that 256 should be the base storage? I mean, replace 256 with 128, 512 with 256 white, 1 terabyte with 512. I mean, the Note 10 had 256 base, so I don't get why they brought back 128 and killed off the 1 terabyte. Know that Apple has 1 terabyte. Don't you think it makes more sense that they compete with Apple? I think Apple does have 128, so I think they obviously want to make a lot of money, but they want to stay competitive in their pricing. So I think that's why you're going to continue to see 128 probably for another year or two before they ultimately make 256 the next baseline of storage. And a lot of people, you got to remember, with phones, a lot of people continue to stick their phones at 1080p video recording. Photos take up a good portion, but videos take up more than that. And if someone's recording in 1080p, those file sizes are a lot less than 4K. You have to physically go into your camera settings to change it to 4K on every camera that I ever used that I can remember on a cell phone. So having 128 is still usually enough. Now, the other part of that is games take up a lot, some apps, but mostly games do as well. I don't think we're gonna see it, but I would love to see it. I'm not against it, and will they do it? Probably not for another year or two. New York's finest, have you seen the new Sony Xperia? If you have, how does it compare to the Pixel 6 Pro as far as taking photos and hardware? So we had this question yesterday. I haven't seen it in person, haven't used it in person. I haven't even watched anyone's video. I've seen photos of the phone. I know that it used a very similar camera lens to the RX V8 or something like that. I'm totally interested in trying it, so if you know Sony, if Sony are watching this, send it over, baby. Ronnie Thomas, what would you like to see on the Galaxy Watch 5? Cameras. I would love to see them go back to adding a camera on here. It's not a necessity, but it would be cool. I'd also like to see a fingerprint sensor to unlock the phone. They already have these buttons right here. Why not make one of these a fingerprint sensor so that I don't always have to put my unlock code to unlock it? Those are the two things that I definitely want to see. If I could only choose one of those, I would choose a fingerprint sensor. Zach Schleich, do you think the S22 Ultra will be better than the Samsung Z Fold 3? Cameras, yes. Performance, probably, because it's gonna have a newer processor. Beyond that, is it gonna be better? It's gonna be dependent on what you like as a phone and what you want as a phone. A lot of people don't like these huge phones. Some people do. I personally love it when it's big. That's what she said. The cameras are passable. I would love for them to be better. But beyond that, I think that most people I think the greater population of people are gonna be wowed by the Z Fold 3, but ultimately they would get the S22 Ultra. I think they would get the S22 Ultra, it's because they're used to that. There's familiarity with that, and it's just something they're more comfortable with. Humza Solomon says, is there a new face recognition animation when you set your face unlock on One UI 4? That's a good question. I haven't personally noticed that I always unlock the phone with my fingerprint sensor. Let me just see. No, I don't know, it zooms in. I didn't really notice anything too crazy. Nothing I would be like, Mom, oh my God, they changed the animation. So it just kind of goes like this. And last question comes from Karen White. Hi, is there a way to take off One UI 4 beta on your phone? Well, I've never personally done it, but I did a little Google researching. I found this on Samsung's developer site, and it says to remove, well, first of all, how to remove the beta software. You have to withdraw from the One UI beta program, which means that you'd go into the Samsung Members app, go to Settings, One UI beta program, and then click Withdraw. And then you have to install the Samsung Smart Switch app on your computer, either via Windows or Mac if you have a Mac, and then go through that setup as well with your phone connected to your computer. That way it gets backed up and you can also get out of it that way, and that's seemingly how you do it. I've never personally done it. If you guys want to see a video on it, I guess I could do it. I'd have to do it with my S21 Ultra because I don't want to do it with my Z Fold 3. I like it, so let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have a question, leave it in the comments down below with the word question. I'll answer it in tomorrow's video, and we'll see you down the road. Peace.